here we go again, I think. Coach Dave, Accordion Cool, yes. It's the new instrument, well, new to me instrument. And that first song may have given you a little clue as to what our theme is for today's show. That song was California, Here I Come, from 1924. It came from a show. First recording is a fellow named Al Jolson. Now, you younger folks would not know who Al Jolson is or was, but he was a great song and dance man, did a lot of movies and a lot of shows. And he was a white man, but he always wore blackface. Now, of course, you couldn't do that today, but back then he did that as a tribute to the great black musicians and entertainers that he had the opportunity to work with. And Al Jolson did that for many years. And this was one of the songs that he sang quite often, California, Here I Come. So, being the big clue, we're going to play some songs from different states today, different states in the country. We did cities early in the season, so I figured, well, let's do some states. But guess what? I mean, I got the songs, but there aren't a lot of songs about different states. Now, that California, Here I Come, I had to dig out from way back when. I think we got through it okay. But, so we may mess around a little bit, but I think we'll be okay. So this next song, I'm sure you've heard me play this several times on the show, from 1930. Written by a fellow named Hoagy Carmichael. Hoagy Carmichael was also a pretty big song and dance man, and you wouldn't expect a fellow like Hoagy, he was a comedian also, you wouldn't expect a fellow like Hoagy Carmichael to write a beautiful tune like Georgia on My Mind. And like I said, written in 1930, kind of hung around, a lot of people recorded it. Nobody had a big recording until 1960. Blind, soul, jazz, country, he could do anything. Piano player named Ray Charles. He played Georgia on My Mind. Georgia on my mind. Spent some time in Georgia over the years. Nice little state. People very friendly. Of course, the Georgia peaches, right? You got those, and there's a place called, which I cannot remember, but it's carvings on the side of a mountain, and it's why can't I remember this? It's very well known, but anyway, and it's all the Southern generals from the Civil War. It's a carving of them on their horses, and they're all heading north. But unfortunately, they didn't get far enough north, and so they had a tough time in the Civil War. But I'm sure as I'm playing the next song, I will think of that place. But anyway, Stone Mountain, that's it, Stone Mountain, Georgia. Stone Mountain, if you ever get a chance, stop and see it. It really is quite a thing. And they have a great little gift shop there. It's a really nice place. All right, our next state. Well, for you folks watching in Alaska and Hawaii, we taped this show in Massachusetts. Now, if you look at, I've told you this before, if you look at a map of the continental the United States, you go way up in the right corner, and you see a little hook there, right? Well, that little hook is Cape Cod, and Cape Cod is in Massachusetts. So that's where we're. So this next song is called "Moonlight in Vermont." So that's. Actually, Massachusetts helps hold up Vermont, so it won't fall down. It's right next to never mind. Written in 1944. Now, this song is interesting because I believe the folks that wrote this song came from the Midwest. And one of the lines, they talk about sycamore trees. And to my knowledge, there are no sycamore trees in Vermont. Lots of evergreens and pine trees, but no sycamore trees. And the words and lyrics in this song don't rhyme. They get halfway through and say, wait a minute, something's wrong here. The words don't line. Okay, heck with it. We'll just leave them the way they are. So here we go. A little Moonlight in Vermont. Moonlight in Vermont. All right. Our next tune, a couple of states down south. They both have the same last name, but one's north and one's south. North Carolina, South Carolina, they have a song. Now, I don't know if the song was written for both states, one state, all it says is Carolina. So, you know, we're going to use it for both. Now, we've spent a lot of time, excuse me, in both those states. We know people in North Carolina. In fact, when we used to travel around the country doing expos, one of the folks that we got a lot of our merchandise in, their company was right in Raleigh. Raleigh is a nice town for a big city. Raleigh is a nice town. And of course, in South Carolina is where one of my sons lives with his family. And also in South Carolina is one of my high school classmates that I had not seen until a couple of years ago for, are you ready for this? 60 years. 60 years. And she happened to contact me, and so we stay in contact. And she's been on this show. She's a travel expert, and she's actually sat right there on this stage where we did a show on travel. So this tune, well, a long time getting into this. Carolina in the morning, not the afternoon. Carolina in the morning. So here we go. I was putting the show together and I was trying to find tunes. Of course, I'd heard that tune, through the years. I had never played that song before. I said, well, maybe I can pick it out. And I hope I did it right. I don't know if anybody's sitting there with the sheet music. But so Carolina in the Morning, 1922 is actually written, 1922. This next song, 1917, and it's about one of our Midwestern states, and again, a state we have been to many times. I'm not even sure if we ever stayed there because the state itself is only about 60, 65, 70 miles wide, so if you're going somewhere, if you don't stop soon, you gotta be out of the state. It sort of sits between Ohio and Illinois and keeps them apart. It's called Indiana. The song is called Back Home Again in Indiana, but us musician folks, we just say, let's play Indiana. Everybody knows what we're going to do. It is not the state song of Indiana, which is unusual. It's written in 1917, and it is either played or sung every year before the Indianapolis 500 road race, auto race. And of course, the fellow, does this sound anything like, golly, Andy? Yeah, Jim Neighbors, right, from the old Andy Griffith show. They used to hire him every 4th of July, and he would go and he would sing Back Home Again in Indiana. So we're going to play that for you now. And I've heard it done up-tempo. I've heard it done ballad. So what do? Let's do both. Okay, Back Home Again in Indiana. Again in Indiana. Now, you may have heard a couple little squawks during the show today. What it is, I think the distance from the front to the back of this accordion is just a little bit longer than my other accordion, so sometimes my finger inadvertently reaching for one button hits one. So it's operator error, nothing wrong with your TV set. Don't call the station and complain. I will get it eventually. I've only had this thing a couple of weeks. So, well, I thought we might have time for an extra tune today, because some of these tunes they're pretty short. So if we're going to go to all these states, best way to drive, right? If you're going to drive, you can drive from Chicago, which is right next to Indiana, all the way to LA on one road, and it's called 1946 Route 66. Here we go. 66. Bonus song, no charge, no charge. If you get your cable bill and it's, there's a charge for it, it says Coach Dave's bonus song, you call the station and tell them that should not be on there. No charge for bonus songs. Well, we are getting down towards the end of our time. Now, if you've been watching for a while, there are a couple of things that Coach Dave either never plays or plays just a little bit of. The first thing that Coach Dave never plays are waltzes. I know, I've said it 100 times, waltzes, they're cute, they're pretty, they're pristine, but you can't, just get into them, So I generally don't play waltzes. Now, having said that, I play several songs that started life as a waltz. Yes, they did. And this next song is going to be, or our last tune is going to be one of those songs. And I call this the Tennessee Not a Waltz. 1946, the song was written. 1950, Patti Page had an enormous hit on this song. And I remember my mother and my aunts all, way back then, all singing this song because it's such a huge hit. So let's see what Tennessee Not a Waltz sounds like instead of Tennessee Waltz Waltz. So Tennessee Not a Waltz, here we go. Tennessee Not a Waltz. I was doing a gig about 2 weeks ago, and I'd worked at this place several times before, and there was an older couple, and they always liked to get up and dance. And I played this song, so the gentleman came over and says, I heard you play the Tennessee Waltz, but could you play it as a waltz for us? I said, oh boy. I had not played the Tennessee Waltz as a waltz for a number of years, so I said, I really don't think I can do it. So I actually was able to resurrect way in the back of my brain, next to California, Here I Come, and things like that. I thought of a waltz, and he knew it, and I played it, and they danced, and they were happy, and that's the end of my story. So So once again, we thank y'all for watching and listening, however it is you get our show. And of course, our normal thank you to Austin behind the glass. He didn't panic too bad when I came in with this instrument again today. He almost petted. He's getting there. He's getting there. So. So like I said, want to thank you all for watching, listening, and as you heard me say 1,000 times before, bring the young'uns in to hear this great music. They're just not exposed to it today. So this is Coach Dave saying, we're going to see you all next time. Let's take it home a little more of, I don't know, Tennessee rumba? No, not a waltz.